Good morning and welcome. On behalf of the City of Rocky Mount Community Development Office, we'd like to welcome you to our Community Awareness Day event. Thank you again for joining us in celebrating Community Development Month. This month, the month of April, we have several planned activities planned, and we thank you for joining in today's event with us. The purpose of Community Development Month is basically to bring awareness to the community regarding community development block grants as well as home investment partnership program funds and the need of continuing the program funding. So we have staff members from the Community Development Department as well as the Human Relations Department that will be speaking to you today regarding our housing programs as well as other community development initiatives and programs. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you those individuals. First, I'd like to introduce Mabel Taylor Jones. She's our home coordinator. Next, I'd like to introduce Kendra Silver. She's our community development technician. Marquita Brown, our compliance administrator. Loretta Braswell, our citizen assistant specialist. Jason Dawkins, our policy analyst. Alvina Jenkins, our administrative assistant. Jason Dawkins, our policy analyst. We also have with us from the Human Relations Department, Felisa Hunter, Senior Human Relations Specialist. Ms. Deborah Campbell, Human Relations Specialist also. And then also, I cannot leave out, we have also Mr. Archie Jones, who is the Director of the Human Relations Department. Thank you again, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over as the agenda has it listed. We will start with our community housing programs. First, urgent repair program. Ms. Mabel Taylor Jones.
Good morning. I am here to share information with you regarding our urgent repair program, which is set to start September 5th and conclude on October 6, 2023. The goals and purposes of the urgent repair program are as follows. The urgent repair program assists low-income homeowners, elderly homeowners, and persons with disabilities with the rehabilitation and the deteriorated homes. The goals of this program are to alleviate housing conditions which pose an imminent threat to the life and or safety of very low-income homeowners with special needs. Also to provide accessibility modifications and other repairs necessary to prevent the imminent displacement of very low-income homeowners with special accessibility needs, such as frail elderly persons and persons with disabilities. The funding for the urgent repair program, the city will provide assistance to homeowners selected to participate in the program for up to $15,000. For homeowners receiving assistance with funding from the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, the amount of assistance from the NCHFA source shall not exceed $12,000. Further assistance provided with funding from the North Carolina Housing Finance Association agency shall be made in the form of a loan that will be unsecured and interest-free with the principal forgiven at a rate of $3,000 per year until the balance is at zero. The city will supplement assistance provided from NCHFA source with a grant to make the total assistance amount of up to $15,000 if needed to accomplish the full extent of the urgent repairs. For homeowners receiving assistance with funding provided solely from the city's general fund, the amount of assistance shall not exceed $15,000 and shall be in the form of a grant and not a loan. The eligibility requirements for the urgent repair program. All applicants of the urgent repair program must meet the following criteria. They must reside within the city limits of Rocky Mount and must own and occupy the home that's in need of repair. They must have a household income which does not exceed 50% of the Rocky Mount MSA, which is the Metropolitan Statistical Area, median income for the household size, and an income chart will be shared later. They must have a special need. Examples are be elderly, which is older than 62 years old, handicapped or disabled, a single parent with a dependent living in a home, a veteran, or a large family which exceeds 5 household members. Continuing with the eligibility, members or a household with a child below the age of 6 with lead in the home and must have urgent repair needs, which cannot be met through other state or federally funded housing assistance programs. If the property is under the minimum housing code, the scope of work must satisfy all code violations. Additionally, eligible applications are ranked for selection on a point-based priority system that takes into consideration categories of special needs and income. This information being shared highlights the income limits for the city of Rocky Mount, as well as the priority ranking system for the city of Rocky Mount. I will read for your hearing the income limits for the city of Rocky Mount. The number of persons in the household being 1, 30% of median income, which is extremely low, is $14,050. 50% of median, which is very low income, is $23,450. For 2 persons in the household, $16,050 or $26,800. For 3 people in the household, $18,050 or $30,150. 4 persons in the household, $20,050 or $33,450. For 5 persons in the household, $21,700 or $36,150. 6 persons in the household, $23,300 or $38,850. For 7 persons in the household, $24,900 or $41,500. And for 8 persons in the household, $26,500 and $44,200. The priority ranking system that we use we use this as a rubric in ranking the applicants. And the categories are the special needs, which are disabled, elderly, or veteran head of household being 62 years old or older. You will receive 4 points for that. Disabled, elderly, or veteran household member, not head of household, you will receive 3 points. Single parent household with 1 or more children in the home, 3 points. Large family of 5 or more that are permanent residents, 2 points. Emergency may submit without regard to an application deadline, 2 points. Elevated blood level, elevated lead level, lead level for the child is 2 points. For the income, that I've previously discussed, that income chart, you would gain points. You would gain 5 points, 50 points. No, you would gain 5 points for 30%. And then you would gain additional points for 50%. And that information is less than 30%, would be 10. 30 to 50 would be 5 points. What do we consider to be special needs? We define elderly as being an individual which is age 62 or older. Our definition of emergency: a situation in which a household member has an immediate threat of being evicted or removed from a home due to health or safety issues within a time frame that the program can complete a repair to stop the eviction or the removal. These applications will be received at any time during the funding cycle and evaluated on the ability of the program to complete the work in a timely manner that meets the goals of assisting homeowners to remain in their home. The definition that we consider disabled: a person who has a physical, mental, or developmental disability that greatly limits one or more major life activities, has a record of such impairment, or is regarded as having such an impairment. A large family: we consider a large family household is composed of 5 or more individuals. At least 4 are immediate family members. Head of household: the person or persons who own the home. Household member: any individual who is an occupant of the unit to be rehabilitated shall be considered a household member. The number of household members will be used to determine household size, and all household members are subject to income verification. Also, the definition for special needs: the occupant. An occupant is defined as an immediate family member, which could be the mother, the father, the spouse, son or daughter of the head of household, regardless of the time of occupancy, or a non-immediate family member who has resided in the dwelling for at least 3 months prior to the submission of the family's application. Single-parent household: a household in which one and only one adult resides with 1 or more dependent children. Veteran: a person who served in active U.S. military service and who was discharged or released therefrom under conditions other than dishonorable. A child below the age of 6 with lead hazards in the home. This last information summarizes the information that was previously shared throughout the presentation, and it highlights again for you the eligibility to be an applicant for the urgent repair program, which will begin September 5th and conclude on October 6, 2023. Are there any questions and or concerns that you'd like to ask at this time? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, and especially if they are pre-1978. A lot of those homes may have lead in them.
For those who may not know, how would they know? So there may be people living in their homes and not knowing they have lead.
I'll let Ms. McGee answer that question for you.
Yeah, but that's a concern. I kept hearing that. I didn't know that was a issue.
So any home that's pre-78, there could be a likelihood of maybe having lead. The only way you know if a house has lead is to have it tested. A lead hazard is considered when there is peeling, chipping, or flaking paint. So there are many older homes, but one of the things that we have to consider is the paint surface is intact. If it's intact, then it's not considered a hazard. When it becomes a hazard is when there's peeling, chipping, or flaking paint, or if there's a hole or opening there. Now, some mini blinds contain lead. So because some of the things that may be made or manufactured overseas, for instance, like mini blinds, could potentially have levels of lead. But the goal is, if you're unsure, you could possibly have your house tested. Now, the urgent repair program does not cover having your home tested for lead. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a kit? You have to have someone come out? How does it work? The cost?
There is a cost associated with lead. Removing lead can be expensive. The city does do lead testing for homes where we do where we do full rehabs in the home program. When I say full rehab, anything over $25,000, which we called a lead remediation, would require us to have a lead clearance test to be done. So it would be a lead inspection done, and then a lead clearance would be done once the work is completed. Now, for someone who may want to, have it done on their own, they could reach out, they could possibly look in the yellow pages of the phone directory or possibly Google and find out lead companies that do lead testing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We want to thank Ms. Taylor Jones for the presentation on the urgent repair program. Now I'd like to ask Ms. Kim.
Excuse me, he has stopped it. When there's a question, Mark has asked that we either give the mic to the person that's asking, because we want the public to get benefit.
Correct.
Of course, he cannot hear.
Gotcha.
He can hear, so if you have a question next time, make sure you go up there and ask us to bring you the mic.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
To start again.
Okay. Now at this time, we will ask Ms. Kendra Silver, our Community Development Technician, to come forward to share information first on the Housing Repair Program, second on the Workforce Housing Repair Program, and third on the Housing Rehab Matching Rebate Program. Mrs. Kendra Silver is responsible for the intake process as well as administering all three programs that I just shared with you. At this time, Ms. Kendra Silver, please come forward.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen and citizens of the city of Rocky Mount. I am Kendra Silver, Community Development Technician, and I administer the Housing Repair Program, the Workforce Housing Repair Program, and the Housing Rebate Program. Starting first with the Housing Repair Program, the ultimate goal of that program is to promote neighborhood stability and to preserve the existing supply of single-family homes by assisting moderate-income homeowners with repairs to their homes. Next slide, the funding source. The city will provide assistance to homeowners whose homes are eligible for repair modification in the form of a grant. And to be eligible for the housing repair grant, the property must be 40 years or older, and the amount of the grant will depend on the scope of work necessary to address the renovations and improvements as verified by the city's housing specialist, but will not exceed $15,000. And the city will make payments directly to an approved contractor. Eligible repairs: energy efficiency improvements, including the replacement of windows and doors, system upgrades, for example, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC unit replacement, roof repair and or replacement and gutters, water heater replacement, lead mold, and asbestos abatement remediation. Continuing on with eligible repairs, accessibility features for entering and exiting the home, for example, wheelchair ramps and stair rails, grab bars in the bathrooms, and then installing smoke alarms. And then if the property is under the minimum housing code, the scope of work must satisfy all code violations. Applicant eligibility. In order to be eligible for the housing repair program, the applicant must own the home and reside in the home as their primary residence, earn up to 80% of area median income, and that's gross income before any deductions, provide written evidence of insurance coverage for liability, casualty, and flood damage if located in a flood zone, and be current on city and county property taxes, current on their payment of utility bills from the city, and have no liens against the property for weed abatement or improvements such as a sidewalk, curb and gutter, or water and sewer line fees. Continuing on with the eligibility, these are copies of documentation that you must provide along with your application to establish eligibility. First, we will need a proof of home ownership in the form of a deed, not deed of trust. There is a difference. So we need to have a copy of your deed. We need proof of primary residence in the form of either a utility bill or some type of mail with your physical address on it. Proof of income, tax returns for the current year, pay stubs, W-2 forms, etc. And again, I want to emphasize that we need your current year proof of income. Documentation, including the age of the home. This is usually found on tax records. Written evidence of insurance coverage for liability, casualty, and flood damage if you're located in a flood zone. That would come in the form of your homeowner's insurance policy declaration page. And then we'll need photo ID as well as Social Security card, and then Social Security statements for every occupant in the household. So, eligibility, again, copies of these documents, as I forestated, do need to be included or do need to be brought in along with the application as you turn it in. The housing repair program, the opening of that for this upcoming fiscal year is to be determined. But if anyone has any questions about the housing repair programs, I can address them at this time. Seeing no questions, we'll move on to the next program, which is the Workforce Housing Repair Program. This program will commence September the 5th through October the 6th, 2023. The Workforce Housing Repair Program is much like the Housing Repair Program. The primary goal of this program, again, is to promote neighborhood stability and preserve the existing supply of single-family homes by assisting workforce housing households with repairs to their homes. Again, eligible repairs, much like the housing repair program, energy efficiency improvements, system upgrades, roof repair, replacement and gutters, water heater replacement, lead, mold, and asbestos abatement remediation, accessibility features for entering and exiting the home, installing smoke alarms, and again, if the property is under the minimum housing code, the scope of work must satisfy all code violations. To be eligible for assistance, the applicant must again own the home and reside in the home as the primary residence. The property must be 40 years or older. Not included on the slide, but again, the home has to be in the city limits of Rocky Mount for all of the programs that I administer. Earned between 80% to 125% of area median income, and again, that's gross income before deduction, so the income limit is higher for this program versus the housing repair program, and then provide written evidence of insurance coverage, again, for liability, casualty, and flood damage, and then be current on city, county, and property taxes, as well as being current on your payment of utility bills from the city, and have no liens against the property for weed abatement or improvements, such as sidewalk, curb and gutter, or water and sewer lines. We are displaying at this time the fiscal year 2022 HUD income limits for per household size. Again, 80% to 100%, 125% of the area median income, depending on the household size. We will receive the new or updated for the fiscal year 2023 HUD income limits sometime in between May and June from HUD. Next slide. Eligibility. Copies of the following documents must be provided along with the application. Again, proof of home ownership. Again, emphasizing a deed versus a deed of trust is needed. Proof of primary residence. Proof of income, current income for the year of 2023. Documentation including or indicating the age of the home, and that's usually found again on the tax records. Written evidence of insurance coverage for liability, casualty, and flood damage if you're located in a flood zone. Photo ID and social security card, and a social security statement for every occupant. Again, the Workforce Housing Repair Program will commence September the 5th through October the 6th, 2023. Again, eligibility is, you do have to meet eligibility in order to be considered for assistance under this program. Any questions about the Workforce Housing Repair Program? Seeing there is none, we'll move on to the last program I administer, the Housing Rehab Matching Rebate Program, which will commence July 10th through August the 4th, 2023. The goal of this program is to offer a 50-50 matching rebate up to $15,000 to assist homeowners with repairs, rehabilitation to their homes that are at least 40 years old. Purpose is to bring stability and to help preserve distressed residential dwellings throughout the city. Again, the home has to be in the city limits of Rocky Mount. Eligibility. To be eligible for assistance, the applicant must own the home, be current on city and county property taxes, current on payment of utility bills from the city, and have no liens against the property for weed abatement or improvements such as sidewalk, curb and gutter, or water and sewer line fees. And then provide written evidence of insurance coverage for liability, casualty, and flood damage if located in a flood zone. Eligible repairs for the Housing Rehab Matching Rebate Program include window replacement, replacement of doors, siding repair and or replacement, system upgrades, electrical, plumbing, or HVAC, roof replacement or repair, including gutters, water heater replacement, lead, mold, and asbestos abatement remediation. Continuing on, exterior painting, accessibility features for entering and exiting the home, wheelchair ramps, stairwells, and grab bars in the bathrooms, and installing smoke alarms. Again, the Housing Matching Rebate Program will commence July 10th through August the 4th, 2023. And again, listing some of the highlights of eligibility in order to participate in the program. Any questions about the Housing Rehab Matching Rebate Program? Seeing there is none, oh, I'm sorry, one question, come forward.
Okay, just hearing 40 years, just want to, a lot of times when you say 40, so that means houses 1983 and older, yes. Younger, older, yes it is.
Yes, that is a change from the previous years, as which the house had to be 50 years, at least 50 years older. So we've increased that the housing age, and again, that information is found on your tax records. You can also probably find that information on your homeowner's insurance policy as well. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Could you come forward to the podium, please, so that you can be heard by the listening audience?
I think you said that was a 50-50 program?
Yes, sir.
So that means like if I need a roof and the roof is $14,000, I had to come up with $7,000. And
Not quite. Thank you for that question, sir. So with the 50-50 program, you are going to pay the total cost of the repairs at the conclusion of the repair work being done.
Okay.
And then you would submit documentation for the city to then reimburse you half of that cost.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Also, another eligible repair, thank you, that was not included is landscaping, meaning the planting and the removal of trees and shrubs. So landscaping is also an eligible repair under the rebate program. Any other questions before I take my seat about this program? If not, thank you for your time. This information can be found on our website, www.rockymountnc.gov. Go to our community development webpage, and you can find all of the information, the policies for every last program that we administer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Silver, for sharing with us information on the housing repair, workforce housing repair, and housing rehab matching rebate program. Thank you again. At this time, we're going to hear from Ms. Felisa Hunter, who's our Senior Human Relations Specialist. She will be speaking on this morning Residential Facade Grant Program. Ms. Hunter?
Good morning. The City of Rocky Mount Residential Facade Program is offering eligible homeowners in designated areas of the city the opportunity to fix up the facade of their residential property through the Residential Facade Improvement Grant Program. This program is designated to promote neighborhood beautification by improving the physical appearance of homes in the city's older neighborhoods. Homeowners that was previously approved to receive funding through the programs offered by the City of Rocky Mount Community Development Program, they are also eligible to apply for additional funds to improve the facade of their homes. The facade program can provide up to $5,000 in non-matching grant funds for eligible homeowners to improve the facade of their residential property. Property owners with property located within the designated boundaries and or designated neighborhoods are eligible. So to be eligible for this, again, you can go through the community development programs and also apply for the residential facade program. The property owner must be the applicant and currently residing in the residence. The property must be 50 years or older, or located in neighborhoods where the neighborhood association is registered with the Human Relations Department. And you can find that out by contacting our office, and we can let you know if you are in any of those neighborhoods. The project must enhance the front of the property facing the street, which is the identifiable address. The property taxes must be current with no liens. The property owner must submit a completed application and, of course, approval process prior to beginning the work. We must have before and after photos. So some of the things that we can do through the residential facade program, we can do porch, railing, steps, walkways. We can add or replace appropriate lighting. We can do landscape also, landscaping, painting, cleaning up and repairing foundation where this brick or vinyl, removing and replacing siding, awnings, gutters, and downspouts. And we can also replace or repair doors and windows. Things that we cannot do with the residential facade program is we cannot go inside your house and do anything in the inside of your house. We cannot do a roof, because when you do your roof, you have to do the entire roof, and we can only address the front of your house or purchase furniture or equipment or anything like that. At this point in time, a date is to be determined when we will start back taking applications. So do anyone have any questions in reference to the residential facade program? I do want to mention also, if, say for instance, it's up to $5,000, if your bid come back in over $5,000, the homeowner is responsible for paying the difference of that project. Yes, sir.
How would the homeowner find out if they are within the boundaries?
Your house has to be 50 years or older. That's one thing. But the boundaries is through the neighborhood group associations that the Human Relations Department have. We can let you know if you are in the boundaries of that, if I answered your question correctly. Any more questions? If not, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter, for sharing information on the Residential Facade Grant Program. At this time, we're going to move forward on the agenda with the Home Investment Partnership Program presentation by Ms. Mabel Taylor Jones, our home coordinator.
The HOME program operates under the umbrella of the Down East Home Consortium and its purpose. A consortium consists of adjoining units of general local governments that come together to qualify for a direct allocation of home funds from HUD. The acronym for HUD stands for Housing and Urban Development. Generally, local governments choose to form a consortium when the members are not eligible to receive home funds individually because they do not meet the home program's initial thresholds for participation. Forming a consortium enables local governments to work together to develop collaborative approaches to local and general housing needs that cross towns and county lines. Under the umbrella of HOME, the Down East Home Consortium consists of Nash and Edgecombe County localities, with the city of Rocky Mount being the lead entity. The funding for the HOME program. Funding for this program is provided through the Home Investment Partnership Act, a program of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. The city of Rocky Mount began receiving funding for HOME in 1997 and administers funds to the following participating jurisdictions. They are the city of Rocky Mount, Coneta, Edgecombe County, Middlesex, Pine Tops, Princeville, Shopsburg, Spring Hope, and Whitakers. The eligibility to participate in the HOME program: you may apply if you live within any of the participating jurisdictions, which will vary based on the locality. You have not received any grant-funded home repairs or rehabs within the last 10 years. You have owned your home for at least 5 years, and if you have a mortgage, it cannot be more than $10,000. You live in the home that needs repairs and rehabilitation, and the maximum amount available for repairs or rehabilitation is $40,000. If lead-based paint remediation is required, the maximum available is $50,000. You may also apply if you have casualty and liability insurance coverage for your home and your household income does not exceed the amount which is shown on the chart below, and it ranges in the number of people in your household from 1 to 8. Are there any questions and/or concerns regarding the HOME program? If not, I'd like to thank you for your time, and we encourage you to apply for any of these programs that are applicable to you as they come available. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor Jones, for sharing information this morning about the HOME program. I would just like to add that the HOME program is presently closed for its accepting applications in the city of Rocky Mount. We anticipate opening up the home application process within the next fiscal year or two. At this time, we'll be talking about, we've talked about this morning so far, housing assistance. Now we're going to talk about down payment assistance for interested individuals or families who are interested in acquiring a home. So we have Marquita Brown, our compliance administrator, who will share information with you on the CDBG Community Development Block Grant Program Down Payment Assistance Program. Ms. Brown?
Good morning. The goal and the purpose of the Down Payment Assistance Program is to provide residents of Rocky Mount and those who desire to become residents of the City of Rocky Mount with affordable homeownership financing opportunities to improve their quality of life. The program provides up to $25,000 in assistance in the form of a 0% interest deferred payment loan forgiven at 10% per year after the first year of purchase up to 10 years. So if a home is purchased through down payment assistance, is sold, refinanced, or vacated within the 10-year period of affordability, the homeowner is responsible for the repayment of the full amount of the loan that remains unforgiven. Funding can be used for down payment, closing costs, upfront mortgage premium, insurance costs, which is PMI, and gap financing. Eligibility. The applicant must be a resident that lives within the city limits of Rocky Mount. The applicant may not have purchased a home within the past 3 years. So pretty muchly that is to be a first-time home buyer, you must not have purchased a home within the past 3 years. The applicant must be able to obtain a mortgage loan with an eligible lending institution for the maximum affordable amount. Applicants are required to participate in at least one HUD-approved homebuyer education 8-hour course conducted by the Rocky Mount Housing Authority or HUD-certified approved housing counseling agency. And there are currently some courses being offered right now, and I'll disclose some of the information a little later on. The HUD income limits are shown as you see here, and as Ms. Kendra Silver stated, these are the 2022 income limits, so these will be changing, or should be changing, for 2023. For fiscal year 2023, I should say. Post-closing requirements. So after your loan has closed, we do require that you comply with this information that we have disclosed. The home must remain your primary residence, and it must stay in your name. And you must retain or keep homeowners insurance. So you cannot get homeowners insurance and then drop the homeowners insurance. If you are in a flood zone, you are required to get and retain that flood insurance. And you must remain current on your primary mortgage payment. The 2023 virtual homebuyer education class schedule. So these, as it states, they are virtual classes, so you do not have to go to a physical location, and these are offered virtual through Microsoft Teams. And these are offered on Saturday, on April the 15th, Saturday, June the 10th, Saturday, August the 12th, Saturday, October the 14th, and the time is from 9 o'clock a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And again, these are offered via Microsoft Teams. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is there a link for the Teams?
Is there a link for the Teams meeting? Oh, hold on just a second.
I just wanted to know if there's a link for the Teams meeting or a contact person to get that.
Yes, there is a link for the Teams meeting, and you can actually call the Housing Authority to obtain that link to the Microsoft Teams meetings. Does anyone have any additional questions for down payment assistance? Thank you so much for your time and attention. You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, for your presentation on the down payment assistance program that is solely funded with community development block grant funds. This is a program that we really strongly encourage you to learn more about, and we appreciate the partnership with the Rocky Mount Housing Authority. They're actually administering this program for us, and they actually will be also doing the presentations for the home buyer education classes that Ms. Brown shared with you. At this time, we're now going to shift over and talk about transforming communities through community wealth building. And so this morning we have with us Ms. Deborah Campbell, who will be doing the presentation. And so I'm going to ask that we give Ms. Campbell your undivided attention at this time.
Thank you. Community wealth building is a new initiative in the city of Rocky Mount, but it's an old idea. It's a broad community equity model designed to empower communities, particularly older and underserved communities, to leverage their internal assets to rebuild, revitalize, and strengthen their communities. As the name suggests, it is a community-focused, community-driven model where the decisions and strategies of the community begin with you. The assets the model refers to is human capacity and home ownership. And since today we're discussing housing, I'll focus the model on particularly to the housing issue. The city probably more the Human Relations Department, as we began to approach community wealth building, we prepared a philosophy how we're going to actually do this work. And that begins with executing, if you'll go back, begins with executing strategies that combat displacement, expand home ownership, evaluate mixed-use communities, that's renters and homeowners, rescue and reclaim abandoned homes, and support the safety and preservation of older housing. The strategies that I'm sorry. No, that's fine. You've heard most of the strategies that we adopted to help our housing issue in the city of Rocky Mount. The previous department just talked about some of their programs to help with this process. Community wealth building specifically addresses available housing grants and things like that, and specifically generated through the community. The basic components of community wealth building is place-based. More than targeted funding, it is a philosophical view about finance designed to fundamentally change and strengthen underserved communities, anchor jobs in those communities, provide employment with livable wages, leverage local assets, and focuses on quality of jobs and asset building. Next slide. There are 5 core principles to community wealth building. And the first happens to be progressive procurement, developing local supply chains of businesses likely to support a local employment and community wealth building. What this means is that we're looking at communities, we're looking at their assets, and we're attracting businesses based on those assets to develop entrepreneurship and develop supply chains. So if we're applying this concept to housing, one of the things that the community would do would be to identify a project, a home or something that needs repair or rebuilding. Based on that, they would also develop a source for that work. They'd look in the community for anyone that has that ability, those skills, those talents to help with that process. They'd attract banking to support that, nonprofit organizations to also support those initiatives. Fair employment and just labor markets. Out of that comes sustained jobs. If you look at the larger community, we're talking about things like Cummins, Pfizer, but if you're looking at the internal communities, we can do the same thing with smaller business units. Shared ownership of the local economy. By stabilizing those businesses and those communities, both the community and the businesses share in the wealth of that community. People are working, people are buying homes, they're shopping locally, and the money stays locally. There's socially just use of land and property. Developing the function and ownership of local assets held by anchor organizations. And what this means is there are a lot of businesses out here that have other properties that they can partner with local communities to use those properties in order to promote well-being in the community. Some of those things we've already seen, such as the Boys and Girls Club, the Armory, and things like that. We're already seeing that take place. Making financial power work for local places. The whole idea is to reinvest in the community in which we live. That's what community wealth building is all about. It begins with the community developing a strategy about how to revitalize their community and partnering with those agencies and organizations to help bring that about. Any questions? It's a little more detailed than that, but just if you think about housing in particular, and you're looking at your local communities and the houses in your communities, such as abandoned properties and things like that. The idea behind community wealth building is to take that house, remodel it, sell it back to someone in your community, take the assets and proceeds from that sale and do another house and begin to take care of all that abandoned property in your local communities. Thank you. Yes.
Wanted to definitely mention community wealth building in action over in the Berkshire community.
That is absolutely correct. That is a perfect example of what community wealth building has done. In the Berkshire community, they have taken one of their, well, actually they're on number 3 now, but they started with one property. They've started with one property, rehabbed it, sold it, took the proceeds to go and start on another property, and they're looking at their 3rd property as we speak. So it's changing their community. It's providing home ownership for local residents and giving jobs to people locally. And that's the idea behind community wealth building. It's about more than just rehabbing a house. It's about employing the community, stabilizing the community, and bringing a community together.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell, for sharing with us information on transforming communities through community wealth building. Great presentation. Thank you so much again. Thank you to all that have presented today, sharing in regards of different ways that the community would have information about the various housing programs that the city administers, opportunities for down payment assistance, and then the community wealth building model, which is a great model that the Berkshire community is leading, and we're challenging other communities to implement that model as well. At this time, I believe we have some closing remarks by Ms. Loretta Braswell, who actually is leading and coordinating the Community Development Month activities. So we're going to ask for her to come forward. But again, let me just give everyone a round of applause for presenting today. We appreciate the staff presenting, and we appreciate the public joining in as well today. And we thank you for coming as well. Ms. Loretta?
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. All right, all right. Now, I want to thank you, as Cornelia said, for sharing with us today. And you have learned a lot. And I'm so thankful that you have been here with us, and this is being recorded. So if you were not able to be here, you will be able to see it on our Channel 19. And we celebrate every year in April Community Development Month and Fair Housing Month. And as you can see, we have some very capable staff members who implement these programs. So let me hear it one more time. Let's give everybody a round of applause. All right. All right. And let me just say to you that if you were not to be able to be here in person, we have some booklets. And these booklets contain everything that was shared today. So if you're interested in getting one or some, call our office, 972-1100, to get one of these. You will be very delighted that you did that. And let me also say that we will have some of these at our various other programs. And you're probably wondering, what various other programs? Well, let me tell you about them. We've already mentioned about our home buyers education class, which is going to be Saturday, actually, from 9 to 2:30. And as they mentioned, call the Housing Authority at 407-1940 and get that link. Because my understanding is it's a very good program. It's a class, actually. Then on April the 20th, which is not too far away, from 10 to 12 and from 6 to 8, the Human Relations Department will present Fair Housing presentation. Choices for All Voices. I love that title. Don't you love it? All right, Choices for All Voices. Building an equitable future. And that's what we all want to do, isn't it? That's what we're about. So I invite you to attend that at Booker T Theater at 107 East Thomas Street and learn about the various things that that department does to ensure that we receive fair housing, because that's important to each one of us. Then on Tuesday, April the 25th, and I'm real excited about this, from 10 to 12, we're going to have a homelessness roundtable. Now, you know, that may be something that we don't think about, but let me tell you, homelessness is in Rocky Mount. It's in our community, and we need to address that. So on that particular day at our Environmental Services Complex on Thorpe Road, we will be talking about what we need to do about homelessness. And we're so excited that the 12 homeless agencies that are here will be attending that, will be there to talk about what they do to address homelessness. So we're excited about that as well. Then, and I'm so excited about this, Friday and Saturday, we're going to do a tour to go around the city of Rocky Mount and other areas to look at some of the houses that we have repaired. And we repaired a number of houses. Of course, we can't go see them all, but we're going to see quite a number of those houses. We will start early in the morning, start from 9 to 11, okay, from 12 to 2, and 3 to 5. And we have the forms today. Anybody that's interested in going on these tours can sign up today, okay? Sign up today so we can get our crew together and go on the tours. The city is providing a bus for us. We're providing food for you before you go on the bus. Be here 30 minutes before the time to get on the bus, because you can't eat on the bus. To eat and get on the bus and go on the tours. You're going to be so very proud to look at these houses in these various neighborhoods to see what the city of Rocky Mount has done. All right, that's all I have pretty much. Again, thank you so much for being here. We know you've learned a lot. We hope you share a lot. And let me just say, see you next year. Any questions or comments? If not, thanks again. So long.